So this is like every conspiracy theory that they talk about, kind of like connected chronologically.
Damn.
And
Let's
then
see
over
that.
here, I'm gonna give you a close up of it so you see it better.
And FYI, for those of you tuning in from the CSHR Radio YouTube page and the Harsh Reality page, this is Friday night of the Harsh Reality Contemptible Thoughts with Mr. Contemptible himself, and his fade, Alex Spielman.
A grand debut after all these years.
After all these years, I feel like you know what I feel like? I feel like we were in a band like years ago, and then we reunited on stage like decades later. That's what this feels
like. Oh, you're talking about like we come back for like a reunion tour.
I know. It kind of feels like
it's like what was that show on MTV? Inside the Music, where they talk
yeah,
about all the stuff,
exactly.
and they're like, oh, this quartet were the best things in all of leftist media, and then disaster struck.
Disaster struck.
One person was a truckie, the other one had sex with another person's girlfriend,
and the other fucked an animal and all that stuff.
The other one was just in the corner for all these years, and he never was able to pick himself up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they can't wait for this. It's gonna be great.
But then there was one hope.
There was one hope.
After a while, it was just kind of like, what happened? I totally forgot.
I know, I did too. I'm like, Alex,
I'm like, what happened?
Why did he stop talking to me?
What happened? I'm guessing that's what they mean by time heals all eventually, I guess. Or
time heals all.
Case of amnesia, I guess.
Time heals all. Amnesia happens, or in my case, those two things happen. But also, I figured out why it happened, and I realized that's been nothing compared to the shit we've been through in the last 5.5 years on our own, isn't it?
It hasn't been,
dude. It was so fucked up. The minute I stopped doing live streams with you, and Daniel, and Chris and I just we're sparingly doing live streams afterwards. All of a sudden, I have to become like a private investigator of some sexual predator. Online, some private investigator. It felt like a PI because we put, because the Billy Taylor stuff back in the day, and then we started chasing people like Ed Higgins and stuff, and then. And the next thing you know, a month after we started exposing Ed to the point where he just had a meltdown on social media and just lost everything, Billy Taylor got himself another scandal too. You're just like, oh my God, you're just like, damn, man. There was a time in 2019 where I didn't even do a fucking live stream unless karaoke was involved. That's how bad it got for me.
Oh, Billy was very well known for having some type of drama happen one way or another.
Yeah, but it was kind of weird at Billy because at first it was entertaining, and then it just became retarded.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh boy, Billy, you pissed off the wrong people now. You can't say.
It was funny, and then it became sad.
Yeah, it did.
It's like, okay, we've been through this probably 5,000 or 6,000, 7,000 times at this point, and this joke gets kind of old after a while.
Well, after a while, it got retarded when he started trying to go after me and a few others. It's like, Billy, I'm famous. Billy, I have notoriety because you keep bringing people on my show. What are you trying to do? And then, of course, Billy Taylor had his meltdown, and then you remember the GNN stuff, and then that collapsed because
Green News Network. Yeah, I think so. I remember
that. And then when we were a part of GNN, and then that collapsed because everyone left politics around the same time. And then we got into Hi, Robert. It was crazy because that happened, right? And the next thing I know, like I said, in 2019, there was a time period I didn't do any, from February 2019 onward, I didn't do any live streams till November, unless it was singing, unless I was live streaming myself at a bar or singing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no. Even if I was at a bar, it was because I was singing karaoke. I wasn't fucking like, I'm like, hey man, random happenings, what's up? Like, I wasn't doing any serious live streams out there because I'm like, all right, well, fuck it. There's nothing else that's gonna happen, right? And then 2020 happens.
And then that's when I started picking up a little bit more actually during COVID. I started doing it regularly.
Same here. I was just like, oh, wait a second. We actually believe in something. We actually believe that this matters again. Oh, that's cool.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's as if we actually something solid there and we didn't realize it.
It was crazy because like I wish that was happening when I went to Flint, Michigan, donating water. Mm-hmm. I'm like, where the hell was his attention for this shit back then? Like, what the fuck? But because everyone has to wear a mask, now we have to, is crying about wearing them. Everyone has to wear a mask or whatever. Now we're gonna fucking get people gonna pay attention. This is stupid. I'm like, it was great for the pages. Don't get us wrong, but
yeah.
But I just thought this was retarded. I'm like, y'all could have just given me this attention when I was actually doing stuff in Flint, Michigan, right?
Oh, Harsh, it's not how that works.
It's never how that works.
It only happens when you don't want it to happen.
Right. or you don't care about it happening. You could have given me this attention when I was trying to prop up musicians, or giving me this attention when we were going after certain like scammers and sexual predators. But no. Now it happens when, I don't even care about doing live streams anymore because everyone is just talking about like shots and masks, and you're just like, okay, this is stupid. But anyhow,
if I remember correctly, around that same time there was this massive spiritual upwell as well.
Yeah,
a lot of spiritualism of some stuff, some shape or form, also happened at that time. It's and then we kind of that ended, and here we are now.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. The whole thing is crazy. And the one to video I did, what's the video you've ever had that just nearly went viral or almost went viral?
Actually, I had one with my friend Vinny. We were interviewing We were interviewing a former educational professional about how she refused to get shots or anything within the mandates because she believed it was within her medical right to do so.
Right.
And we got that was actually I actually had an issue with that because what happened was that my computer was constantly on the fritz. So there was Vinny basically doing everything, and luckily he had his own group of people that he works with, which is the Sons of Confederate Veterans. He deals with a lot of the memorials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so my hats off to him and his community, because I was basically SOL the entire time because I couldn't get a good connection.
Well, so, at least how many views do you think it got? Not that it matters, but
I actually could pull that up, surprisingly. Do I even have it? I believe we were close to 1,000.
Okay, that's not bad. But see, that matters because at least that's a good like video where it's like, okay, if that's your most popular, that's what matters.
But I think the best solo I've done recently was one where I was talking about having a new constitutional convention.
Yeah.
Where we need to basically all have to say, well, it worked, didn't work. We got to restart everything. We got to reboot everything.
Yeah.
And kind of, I was giving like suggestions about how we could reorganize things a little bit more effectively in a modern sense.
Yeah.
Because it's not exactly the 18th century nowadays. So
no, I mean, and the last time they even amended a constitution was back in 1991.
1991, was it 91? Yeah, because that was the one that lowered the voting age to 18.
That might have. I don't know if that was.
I think I want to be nerdy right now. Do I have my book? Where is my book?
Yeah, I know 91 was some amendment that no one even remembers, but all I know is that was 32 years ago.
All I know is that I was not a wink in my parents' eye.
All
Not
I
that I was
know is
looking
that
or anything.
that's when everyone here was celebrating MJ's first championship. That's all I remember.
MJ
Oh,
and Scottie Pippen.
yeah. That's all. That's 91. I don't remember that much out of it outside of like that and,
I have no idea. I wasn't alive. I couldn't
right.
tell.
Well, I mean, it was nuts. But yeah. But I mean, the whole thing is just crazy, though. It's just, but that's good, though, that you had some popular videos. I mean, I'm not going to,
Mm.
but I will, the thing I hate about this, like the most viral video I had was just me at a bar. I like at the Roxy Theater. At the Roxy Theater, like at the bar, like the lobby bar area outside this theater itself. Guess how many views it got? Just me and my buddy, my TPA, a business partner, and friend
Let's
Jay.
see. So this is not really a serious video. It's just you at a bar, pretty much.
It was just me, my buddy Jay on Cannon at a bar.
So, the way trends work with like TikTok and stuff like that. I'm gonna say it hit a few thousand.
Try 107,000. It was just me and Jay Foncan sitting at the Roxy Theater like lobby bar.
And
Alex
then when
Thomas
it's something
comes on
serious,
there.
all of a sudden the view counts go down because it's like something that it's like too
Right.
serious. Right.
I know. There. I had the same setup and everything, but it's like
I can actually pull that number up. Give me one sec.
Right. No, it was ridiculous because it was just okay.
Yeah.
And it was absurd because Alex Thomas was there. That was awesome because she painted this beautiful painting. And so she was on the show as like a guest because she was vending some of her artwork there. And Fletch Howell of the Bunker was there. He's awesome because he interviews all the local musicians in the area, right? Mm-hmm. So that was cool. But for 107,000 views and me just like, hey guys, how's it going? Like, what the fuck? It's like, what the fuck?
Let's see.
Just random story time. It's just, I don't get it.
Okay, so that video that I did with the teacher, that got 94 views. Oh. And then the one that I have, okay. The one where I actually got the most is, I have two different ones that are actually pretty good. One is something I called Prussia Strikes Again, and with its death rattles.
Right.
And I was going into the I was breaking down the color. So you remember on the fires at La Jolla happened a few months back? Okay. And how everybody was like, we need to cover our roofs blue, right?
Yeah.
Because it deals with directed energy.
Yeah.
So that was when I was like, okay, well, that sounds like a stupid idea. Let me try to debunk this thing. And then I go, oh.
I gotta be honest, I was on the blue roof thing for a while until I saw
unrelated way.
No, I gotta be honest, I was on the blue.
I found out that the blue color itself was Prussian blue.
Prussian blue.
Prussian blue, right? Huh. And so I was like, okay.
German blue. I did not know Germans had their own version of blue.
Yeah. So, and then I was like, okay, well, that makes no sense. And then I'm like, oh, because I was going through a thread of this guy called Burning Bright, and he was talking about was it Burning Bright? No, it wasn't Burning Bright. It was Will Zoll. He was on Substack, and he had this whole series called Prussiagate, which dealt with how the Prussian espionage and social engineering system they have created the modern world, whether it was economics, industry, or education. And I'm like, oh, that's a freaking funny joke right there. Oh, we're just going to call it Prussian blue because everything's related to Prussia at this point.
Which is ironic because Prussia is not Russia. Prussia's German.
It's not Russia. It's German. It's the remnants of the whole Roman Empire.
Oh, yeah, the German engineering. Oh, yeah, that's German engineering. We have our own blue.
And we have our lovely, the Volkswagen Beetle. Also known as the love bug.
Oh,
how we went from German engineering to Herbie the Beetle is beyond me.
I don't know, but I will say I was on the whole Prussian blue thing for a while until
But
I
then,
saw some other photos. But yeah,
and then the next video, the one that actually is the highest, is a video where I was explaining the concept of rods of God, which that's
yeah,
if you wanted to go into sci-fi tech, that is something else right there. Uh, so like, so I probably said this probably 15,000 times at this point, but the concept of the rods of God, as I understand it, right?
yeah,
It's a space weapon system, right?
yeah,
And you have a titanium rod the size of a telephone pole, right? And you drop it from space, and it comes down to Earth at entry velocity,
yeah.
and it goes smack into Earth, right? It has the impact of a small nuke with no fallout.
Damn.
So, and there were like pictures of like big explosions happening in China.
Did you say an
From
impact of a nuke with no fallout?
no fallout because it's titanium.
Jesus.
It's a kinetic weapon. It's not a chain reaction from like fission. Or actually, no, it's fission. Yeah,
That's fucking
fission is when
lunacy.
you rip things apart. Fusion's when you put things together. Right.
Yeah. Well,
It's
that's
but
scary
yeah.
either way.
Yes, horrifying. Um, but like the best example I was able to find was the GI Joe movie, the
Really?
second one, because they use the
Huh?
rods of God in the movie. I
Yeah.
assume it's not going to be the way the movie projects because movie magic and all that fun stuff. But I was explaining that because I was just kind of into that. I I just like learning about lost tech and possible weapon things that weapon systems and ordinances that are not confirmed to be a thing, but could be a thing. I mean, you know, I
Yeah.
could just imagine the things that they have nowadays. You know,
Jesus.
if they're
When was the
now just
second GI
rolling
Joe
out,
movie?
but that
When was the second GI Joe movie?
2015.
Oh yeah, they definitely have more stuff than that.
I know, like I know just recently, within the last day or two, they just announced the B-21 Raider, which is going to be taking over the role of the B-2 bomber. So I'm
Jeez.
like, what is that movie? Now I have it in my mind. Let's,
That's insane. That's just fucking
yeah,
insane.
2013. The movie came out in 2013.
Oh yeah, they definitely have newer
So
stuff.
I'm like, if that's what they're talking, so if that's what they're talking about in movies at this point, there's probably things far, far more. Because
Oh,
I
they're
know that just in when the Marvel movies came out with like Avengers and stuff like that, they actually had to get permission from the DoD just to show things on screen like a helicarrier and stuff like that, because that technology was apparently too close for to classified
oh my
programs
god.
and stuff like that. That they had to get permission from the Pentagon.
Yeah. If there's anything I've learned in the last like decade or so, it's that the technology the government has is well advanced of the technology that
Oh,
everyday
yeah,
people are allowed to use.
definitely,
At least by like
definitely.
30 to 50 years. Because just
Like,
think about the technology they had in World War II when everyone else was like driving around fucking Studebakers. Just like these guys
right?
are like fighter jets and nukes and
Well,
try some of these devices. Well, and everyone's driving around in like Studebakers. Well, you guys were driving around Studebakers. People like me were in like rickshaws, like, hello, how are you doing? It's like,
Or you could be the Germans going to Argentina and experimenting on things again with
Now I
high
got a
jump and stuff
question. Were
like
they
that.
going there to experiment or were they going to flee?
So it depends on who you ask, but I've gotten several different interpretations of what's happened.
Because I think it's both.
I would think it's both actually.
Yeah.
Because the way it was explained to me is that where the Allied military doctrine dealt with quantitative force, we're going to throw as many Sherman tanks at the Germans as much as we can because they're just like freaking sitting ducks,
Right.
basically. Meanwhile, the German Panzer lead were like the thing of like monsters. It
Right.
could go through an entire city by itself and just blow apart an entire city, no problem.
Which could do
So
that?
what I think happens is that they realized, oh, Europe's a lost cause. We're going to go to somewhere else that no one's going to be able to get to us,
Right.
which is Argentina and the southern pole. And I honestly believe they did projects over there unabated, and that's why they had to bring Admiral Byrd and his armada down there to try to clean up the remnants of it, only
Yeah.
for them to get a rude awakening when they got there.
Exactly.
Because I mean, you hear about the German Bell that they had out there, and they were experimenting on space tech at that point.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine the technology they had, they were working with at that time. Fast forward 80 years,
Yeah.
and it's just like ridiculous because we bring those guys over. Okay, so
Yeah, that's with Operation Paperclip. They brought half the.
well,
They basically brought like half the German scientists, and the other
well,
half went to the Soviet Union.
what's interesting is though, so when I was making this timeline for this whole thing,
Right.
I went from uh, Operation High Jump, and then I jumped to. Ever heard of the lights over Washington or the Battle over Washington?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was lights over there in the late 1940s and early 1950s,
Right.
and it was like UFOs they were saying at that
Yeah.
point, right? I would honestly believe that was the Germans and related scientists using their creations to kind of like push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the United States government and everyone else is like, well, they got technology that's better than us. We'll bring them on. And then paperclip came into play.
Yeah.
And then I mean, who did we get for NASA but the freaking rocket scientist who did the V2, Werner von Braun? Like seriously? Like I mean, you could have had anybody else, but you're gonna have the Nazi scientist at this time who dealt with rocket tech.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah, that's that's the ultimate if you can't beat them, join them type move, isn't it?
oh, the United States pulled the Chicago Cubs by poaching Craig Coughlin. I mean Craig
Yeah,
Counsell in this
right.
situation, but instead of a baseball manager, it's a rocket scientist.
I know.
And then you realize and then on top of that, we also have Oppenheimer's work with the atomic bomb prior to that. So
Yeah.
now we have space, we have NASA and nuclear weapons, and we're dealing with the Soviets. So it's like
Too much. I mean,
just,
having someone like von Braun in charge of NASA, well, was not much of a difference than having like Joe Kennedy in charge of the SEC. You're like,
true.
What?
True.
Why is this crooked? Why is he in charge of all the crook things? Well, we need a crook to defeat the crooks. So,
yeah. And then what's
works.
funny about that is that you go into like because this is actually one of the things they mentioned in Prussiagate is and so at this point Europe is in ruins because we just kind of just blew it up with bombers and war, right? And so what do? We do the Marshall Plan. We send all this money over there and all these resources over there. And the guy that they have for Germany to rebuild Germany was the guy who was the head of Deutsche Bank.
Oh my.
Okay. And Deutsche Bank was very close to the National Socialists at the time.
Yeah, the Nazis. Right.
Yeah. And so we're like, we're going to give money over there, and we're going to have the Deutsche Bank president. That's going to work. And we're also going to send an associate of that guy to Australia and have him do his stuff over there.
Jeez.
It's like I'm sorry. I think General George Patton was completely right when he said we were fighting the wrong people.
Yeah.
Because they never actually lost. They kicked the can down quite a while. I think we still have stuff. This is like the remnants of it now.
Oh, they never lost. They just switched sides.
They switched sides. They changed. They went underground basically.
Right. They went underground. They changed. They basically did their laundry, and they just changed their names and their accents. You know, some of them became more Slavic, and some became more Western. But it doesn't matter because they never lost.
But we all love Das Auto.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We got that German engineering. Ooh.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Volkswagen, the people's car, and then you also have BMW.
Volkswagen, the people's wagon.
People's wagon. Back when they used to just call it horseless carriages.
You know. Oh my God. It's crazy. It's just crazy how much like things have stayed the same. It's just the brown shirts.
It's become overly obvious to me at this point that humanity is the best when it comes to kicking the can down the road.
Oh, they're amazing.
We don't deal with the problem right then and there. We kick the can over for the next person, and then when the person says, "What's that?"
And then they kick the can down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like Chicago politics, really. It's like when they're dealing with their problems.
And then they're like, hey, you have no work ethic. You didn't do your job. I'm like, and you go, well, you didn't do your job in the first place. I didn't have to deal with this if you didn't deal with it.
Right. It's so different than Chicago politics when like everyone blames like Lori Lightfoot and Brandon Johnson because, you know, Daley and Rahm Emanuel spent 3 decades kicking the can down the road and being incompetent. It's like, I'm not saying those guys are good, but you can't blame like one thing based on, you can't blame like 4 years of someone being an idiot based on, you know, 30, 35 years of retardation at the minimum. It's like Daley's the one who sold all our stuff. What the fuck is Emanuel supposed to do? And Emanuel doubled down on that. So what the fuck is Lightfoot and Johnson going to do? Now, granted, they didn't do anything good, but they're not doing anything great. But it's like,
and it was when I was learning, when I was watching all the stuff with Lightfoot and Johnson, I was like, I forgot that Chicago does their mayor in the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
It was like, what, February, March?
March, yeah. February is the primary. March is like the March
is the election, which really confused me because I thought they did it in November.
No, it's Chicago. They have to do things in a different way for some reason.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chicago is special. I'm sorry.
Okay.
In more than one way. And then, you know, I got to be careful being a Cubs fan because they'll probably have bias, you know, north side, south side situation.
Well, I mean, if you're a Cubs fan, you just have to stay there and party. Nobody cares. Like most Cub fans aren't even from Chicago or even from the area.
Very true.
They're all like you. They're all like out of town.
Because my uncle went to Northwestern and introduced me to my mom, and then I kind of was born in Cubwood.
Exactly. You just wear your hat backwards and in your little Chris Bryant jersey, and you're like, "Hey man, what's the story?"
And he's in the Rockies now. So is he Rockies? I think he's Rockies.
He was on the Rockies. Yeah. Yeah, Colorado's basically paying Chris Bryant for being a good player for the Cubs. That's what they're doing. Chris Bryant's like, I don't care anymore. I look good. I don't care.
My best buddy in the whole wide world's on the East Coast now and he's making bank with the Yankees now. And
no, Rizzo's like almost done.
You know,
he's done. He's the way he's been playing. It's like, dude, if he's that bad, if he's playing with concussion for 3 months, you're like, okay, you're an idiot. Although, to be fair, the Sox aren't even worth mentioning anymore. It's like, yeah, we had a little rebuild, and then it went to shit real quick.
I've been hearing that the Sox are planning on moving. something like that.
Yeah, that's not happening because
They
I mean,
want
you think
to. They were. I heard something about them trying to move to Florida, even though
in
they
like
already have.
'88, right? They tried to move to Florida in '88, and the governor, who was a Cubs fan at the time, James Thompson, or someone of his aldermen or henchmen, somehow the clock froze, and at the strike of midnight, they were able to get a stadium deal done to keep him in Chicago for the next like 4 decades.
But it's like, but you already have the Rays and the Marlins there. There's no purpose.
No, this was in '88. This was
Oh,
before
right.
the The
There,
funny
there was
thing is, the stadium the Rays played was actually built for the White Sox.
true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's
and then they had the whole expansion in the '90s.
that's how you got the Marlins and the Rays there. The whole thing is so stupid because the deal the White Sox have, they would never get in any other city. Like they basically have a deal where the state owns the stadium, pays for the profit, covers the expenses, and they get to keep all the profits at the gate.
With that, I always forget the name of their stadium
Because they change it like every other year.
because I
call it
always
Comiskey.
known it as Kaminsky Park.
I call it Comiskey.
It's just I mean it's just one of those things where you just call it something just because it is. I mean, like I like if you're Chicago, I still call it the Sears Tower, even though it's technically.
Yeah, no, exactly. Tower. That's how it is.
It's just there. Like
exactly.
For example, like I'm right now. One of the places I'm streaming to is on X, but I still call it Twitter because it just sounds better.
That was I know if you like Elon Musk, it's cool, but that might have been the dumbest purchase he ever made.
Yeah, well,
it's like you bought it. Like you're gonna give up $25 billion to prove a point, really?
Well, you're gonna pay that money to prove a point, and then you're gonna back out, and then the judge is gonna be like, "Oh no, you've already invested that money. You got to do it now." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess I got to figure this out now."
I don't know why I changed it to X. That's so like.
Well, because he used to have X.com, if you remember, all those years ago.
Right.
So he probably just needed it just to keep the IP alive.
You could create any site for that. You don't need to.
Yeah, I mean,
and Twitter looks so nice with the bird.
I think PayPal is now run by
Saudi Arabians.
Peter Thiel in Palantir now, I think.
I don't even know.
I don't know. It's
all I know is Prince Al bin Walid. Bin Al Walid used to run PayPal for years, and then he got indicted, and then now someone else runs it.
Prince Alawi bin Talal, yeah. And then he ran Chase Bank for quite some time too.
Yeah, Chase and
Twitter. And he was also a very strong contributor in Twitter.
Yeah.
And then the whole that whole roundup that happened afterwards, that was interesting.
Yeah.
The King's like, we're just going to round up everybody of influence. We're just going to round it. And when they arrest them, they weren't even like in like a dirty, dingy prison. Their cells were these wonderfully ordnate beds with carpets and stuff like that. It looked like the nicest hotel I've ever seen.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, if I did half of the things they did, I'd be like in the dirtiest, dingiest cell, probably having to save my life from a cellmate.
Jeez,
because I did something.
I know. Well, I mean, if it's white collar prison, you can technically like get like an upgrade.
True.
If you have a good enough attorney, yeah.
True.
But I mean,
that's not that they're going to throw the book at you and then they'll be like, well, there's nothing we could do to help you.
Yeah. Speaking of white collar criminals, the white side, Jerry Reinsdorf, of course. What he did to that what he just done to that franchise is terrible. But and that's why Nashville wants nothing to do with that asshole too. It's like, no, we don't want to deal with you either. But yeah, I mean, it is crazy though, like how like white collar prison and blue collar prison are completely different.
Oh my god, night and day.
Like if you're a white collar criminal, go white collar, would you really be upset? Like would you just be like, hey, okay, you caught me, whatever.
Yeah. I was already having an issue getting myself fed and paying the insurance and dealing with these things. And you're saying I'm going to be able to be in a place, 3-course meal, air conditioned, and a private room for myself,
Yeah.
all full room and board.
Yeah, that
I
sounds
mean,
like
I'm
a
not, I'm not,
terrible
I'm not
idea.
saying I would want to do that, but I'm saying considering the situation you may be in,
Right.
it may be considered
No,
preferable. I mean,
no,
there's a reason why there are some people who are repeat criminals because either they're dealing with that or they're living in a cardboard box.
right.
So I mean,
Exactly.
it
And
just
and
shows you
and,
that,
and I'll tell you, when you get arrested, they make money off of you getting arrested. So there's also that.
of course,
Yeah.
of course, there's some kickback. They got to get kickback somehow.
Right.
Like just like when they say, well, there's no such thing as a quota. Of course, there's such thing as a quota.
Right. They're just
I,
not going to tell you 15th and the
oh,
1st.
well, they have told. I actually have been told one time or another because I used to have friends on the force, and they were like, "Well, my
Yeah.
supervisor has instructed me to do certain things." I'm like, "Okay." I'm not going to disclose any of those intimate details because things happen to people when you say things like that. Like, oh, how dare you do that? And then you get death duty for 6 months.
Yes, sir. 15th and the 1st. That's how they.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. They happen. But I mean, that whole thing is just insane. Like, but I like I said, I don't think that, like we were talking about earlier in the show, I don't think the FEMA camp thing's a thing. With the way
No.
people have become so stuck to their
No.
homes.
No, I think
Yeah.
that was the way they were planning on do things for like Agenda 21 and that type of
Yeah.
thing. But everything just went off with tons of hitches. There are a
Yeah.
lot of, but this happened, and then that happened, and then this happened.
I mean, 2020 kind of put the kibosh on the FEMA camp thing. It was like, well, why do we have to spend money on these idiots if they're just going to imprison themselves at their houses? It's like,
Right,
okay,
right.
it's okay. I think, man, my buddy Maximus, of all people, he brought that up. And I'm just thinking, like, yeah, I mean, if people don't even leave their house anymore, if they don't leave to go to work, if they're not leaving to go, not even go to work, they're not leaving for food, they're not leaving for grocery shopping, they're not leaving for anything. It's like, well, I mean, even Grizzly delivers alcohol, so you don't have to leave for that either.
I have looked at Drizzly. The only thing is that they're expensive as all hell.
They are. I'd rather
It's
just
like
go.
I want to get 2 cans, and they're like, "Oh, that's going to be $30." What?
Yeah, I'd rather just go to
next door, and it's probably like going to cost me like $5.
Yeah, that's
it's
yeah.
the convenience of it. It's like convenience my eye. I wish it was like DoorDash. You can get an annual subscription, no delivery fee.
Right.
There you go.
Right. I would rather, yeah. At that point, I would rather, like I said, I'd rather just drive to Biddies or drive to like a liquor store than go to the used Grizzly, because that's just terrible.
That's the only upside that I actually have. I actually have a store right down the street from me.
Yeah.
And I can know like, hey, can I get this or can I get that? Oh, we'll put it on the list. Cool. All right. Hey, it's here. Cool. And there it is.
It's awesome.
But yeah, the FEMA camp concept is just, it's obsolete.
Right.
The concept is obsolete.
Well, so, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, the earliest example of it being obsolete was when Flint happened. Did they round up everyone in Flint, Michigan to poison them? No. They just kept everyone was just at their homes, and they just changed the water supply, and as a result, generations of people have irreversible health problems because of it, health conditions because of it. You know, there you have children having hysterectomy, you have like little girls children having hysterectomies and ED, and they're not even adults, and you have like a bunch of, and everyone else has like brain damage from it. So they didn't round up everyone. They didn't say, "Yeah, you got to go to the camp." Nope, they just poisoned them. So.
And what's funny is that they actually tried to do a camp actually in Australia, if you remember.
Yeah.
And they didn't go very well. They after once things settled down, they're like, oh well, this thing's not working anymore. You just go back to things.
Right.
And then And then you go to like what happened with East Palestine earlier this year, right?
Yeah.
Forget about just the water supply. Let's blow up one of the parts of the train, and we'll just put toxic matter everywhere,
Yeah.
destroy the groundwater, destroy the water lines itself. You've basically destroyed the ecosystem there for a good 500 miles, probably,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more. Um, and then we don't, and that stuff that is actually that water system connects to the Mississippi, so it got the entire Mississippi River Valley at that point now,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, this is worse than Chernobyl. We can't even get reporters in there because when reporters go there, they're like, oh, you're tampering with a scene of a crime. It's like, I'm just trying to report this stuff.
Right.
And then when you have like people trying to go to meeting for FEMA, like, how can I get like funding because now I'm dealing with stage 2 kidney cancer or something like that. They're like, oh well, we did all we can. There's nothing else we can do. Meanwhile, just made yourself a nice big old super fun site.
Right.
And it's ironic because just a few months prior to that, you had the whole issue with the rail workers trying to get some type of benefit with their contract. And then Congress is like, no, you're not allowed to strike. You're going back to work.
Exactly. The
So they're like,
president of the
hey,
United States are like, yep, you got to work out a deal.
it's
Yeah.
like,
The guy supposedly pro-union just basically screwing unions over one more time. But then again, unions have been getting screwed since the Jimmy Carter days. We just really haven't mentioned it until now. So,
well, I'm not a big fan with the union I'm dealing with lately.
yeah.
Because all my benefits have just kind of evaporated. So I don't basically have anything. It's the people in the offices, and I'm not afraid to say this. It's the people in the offices get all the perks. People who are actually in the workplace, they don't get anything,
They don't.
or lack of it, or because at one time it was fantastic benefits. You used to get a lot of good care with it, and then it's like, oh wait, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to do that. Let's not do it.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad.
It's sad, yeah. Like you would think that there would be this kind of like move to just basic decent care of if you work hard, you can actually get something. Not even that.
Not anymore. The way they're going to start using AI.
Oh, right. We're gonna run into our fun what's his name? Isaac Asimov situation.
Yeah.
Like we need at least the 3 laws. Let's just put those 3 laws in there, just so we just kind of just got the fundamentals. Let's not deal with the fact that we are. What was it they said? I think it was scientific. What was that name? It's one of the main scientific magazines. I forgot. They were saying, well, the oh my gosh. Now I want to actually think about something. Now it's blanking.
Science fiction?
No. It's the saying when artificial intelligence becomes so intelligent that it becomes almost sentient.
Yeah.
What was that thing called? Oh my god, right. But they were saying that concept would exist within our lifetime. Within 20, they said by 2030, AI will be so intelligent that it can do that. It's like, oh gee, great. It doesn't help that they're freaking putting AI in there.
Sentient AI implies that technology is, according to a Forbes magazine, sentient AI implies that technology has the capability of self-awareness as well as consciousness and emotions. In other words, just like human, sentient AI would be capable of thinking, feeling, and experiencing the world. And that means society is over. The world as we know it is over.
that means Terminators.
Yeah.
Which we already have our Skynet. It's called Alexa.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen what they're doing with the Echoes, Amazon owns the data of all the footage of those Echoes. Not Echo. Yeah, Echoes and oh, what's that? What's their doorbell?
Ring.
Ring. Yeah, they have all the video for Ring and all the sound coming from the Echoes. So they have their own Skynet right there. Forget about the FEMA camps. Now we have surveillance of both video and audio. So it's that whole that it's that thought exercise where a prison which is circular, and
Right.
everybody is keeping an eye on every person within that ring. Skynet.
Yeah.
And then you find out these people are actually working. They have federal contracts too, so they're technically considered they're considered contractors
Employees.
too. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, it was
Something.
nice knowing you, Alex. If that's the case. It was nice knowing you. It was nice knowing Robert. It was nice knowing all of y'all. All right, well, Robert says I still say Amazon's a government entity. Well, it
Well,
technically
you
is.
consider that Bezos owns the Washington Post.
Right.
In his editing room, there is at least one member of the CIA in that room at all times.
Well, that's like every like major net media, but in
Yeah.
Bezos' case, you don't get to where he is unless the CIA helps you out. Like the alphabet.
CIA or some shadow entity somewhere.
Yeah, you get if a shadow entity ain't helping you out, you ain't going from some like mom and pop startup to that. And
He went to
FYI, he
the
also got
he,
like a ridiculous loan. He also got like what, like $500,000 or a few like million to start off his business.
yeah, and he started off with just selling books in a garage in Washington
Right.
to being the world's preeminent place for everything. I mean, it's hard to go anywhere for shopping without considering Amazon nowadays,
Yeah.
or video even, because you have the Prime Video, you have the audiobooks, you have music.
Yeah,
I mean, you have your
they're broadcasting live sporting events, or they broadcast
yeah.
NFL football every Thursday. And
Like,
they have their
what
own
can you
TV
do?
shows. Like Jack Reacher, it's like, what the fuck? Like Amazon is. I mean,
It's deadly with the piranhas.
Amazon is basically is like a Walmart with a TV network.
It's worse than that because
Right.
because it also has a guy who wants to he wants to shoot a rocket which has a interesting shape phallus looking thing in the sky.
Right.
It's like, we're done with conquering the Earth. Let's all chase our way to the stars.
Oh my God.
So you have Elon doing there, you have Richard Branson doing that, and you have Bezos doing that. Hey, let's put William Shatner in the rocket, and even though we've never tested this thing, and if it blows up, we know why. And then they're like, "We went to space. You didn't even break the atmosphere.
Oh my God.
You went enough where the gravity pull doesn't affect things, but not for you in low Earth orbit yet.
No.
We went to space. No, you
Is
didn't.
The whole thing is ridiculous. It's absurd. It's just
It
fucking
is.
absurd.
It's
I
absurd.
don't get it. I mean, Jeff Bezos is what Elon Musk wishes he was. Elon Musk wishes, man, I own space. Amazon having its TV, being a TV and a movie having its own TV and movie network for television, live television and movies. It would be like Tesla being the largest department store in the world and a car dealership.
They do that. They do sell cars, right?
Right, they sell cars and they like sell home appliances and furniture throughout the entire country. Not just the dealer, the number one department in the. It'd be like Walmart and Tesla merging. That's what Amazon is right
Oh my god! And then and the horror stories I hear about those warehouses when they
now. Oh
work in those
god.
conditions, they are it's horrific.
I know if people worked in those conditions. It's terrible.
Was it they're like, oh, I work 12-hour days, 4 days a week. I'm like, that's great. I'm like, can you at least sit down for like 5 minutes? Oh no, if I sit down or do something outside, a bell will go off or something. I forgot exactly there's like an alarm that goes off during that whole situation. So they have to be up the entire time. Let's forget about the breaks and the lunches that they have to do. But I mean, after a while, you're gonna have to you rest your feet eventually.
Yeah. And they get that extra day off just to rest their feet. Sadly.
I think these people would be too exhausted to even consider that at the first point.
Right. I mean, and they're not even allowed to leave during like weather emergencies.
No, because there was that one time when they had the fire and they weren't even allowed to evacuate.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. That's horrific.
That's no different than the Triangle Shirtwig incident.
Yeah.
Where at least that gave us some type of relief with the concept of fire exits.
Right.
But these people don't even get that.
Triangular
you have to stay working.
Event. Oh no, I got it. Yeah.
What happened?
No, what was the name of that one?
What,
the Triangular Shirtwig incident?
The Triangle Shirtwaist incident.
Oh, sure. Oh yeah, the Triangle Shirtwaist. Okay. Yeah, that was like way back. Yeah, that was way back. But yeah,
that was 1900. I think 1890. It was like that. It was during the Gilded Age. So
yeah, 1911. But 1911, yeah. I mean, but yeah, I mean that's horrible. We're basically back to where we were in the early 20th century. And then people wonder why like
we're in the roaring 20s again.
I know. Yeah, we had the entire decade rolled up into like 3 years.
It feels like that, right?
I know.
Things used to happen, within months. Now it's days.
Yeah. Before, I think there's that old saying. It's like there are years where nothing happens, and then there's weeks where years happen, where decades happen.
Yeah, right. That's been like the last 5 years.
Yeah, 5, 10. Like, if I'm thinking about life between now and 10 years ago, feels like thinking about life between now and 30 years ago. That with how much it's changed.
10 years. So let's just go 10 years ago. So we're in 2003.
That's 20 years ago. That feels like its own galaxy.
Yeah.
2003 feels like I'm talking about the 1900s.
2013. My goodness gracious, where am I heading? 2013. What were we doing in 2013?
I wasn't on this site much. I wasn't on this site more than like once every few months. Yeah,
let's say I was at college at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was deeply depressed.
Yeah.
That college does that to you.
Yeah.
If you don't have some niche that you get or a group that you deal with, you get very, very in your head, very much in your head.
Yeah, 2013. I just come back home from the old country, and don't get me wrong, I was a lot better looking back then, but I was just like, yeah, yeah, exactly. But then, it's just like, oh, okay, they're just readjusting the life out here and just going day by day. I mean, that's all I was doing. It wasn't like, I wasn't thinking about any of this crap, is what I'm saying. I was just like, okay, you know what? If I want to go to the casino, fine. If I want to play some, fine. I was just being basic. Like it wasn't in this. I wasn't thinking about it. Well, I mean, vote. I had like the thing in my mind. I was like, yeah, politics is stupid, but I don't really care. But that's not my problem. Let me just have some fun.
Let's go. That's 10 years ago. Let's go a little further. Let's just do 5 years. Let's just do 5 years because that's
5 years ago. You and I were doing 5 years ago. At this time, I was just doing random live streams, all dressed up.
And And I think I dropped into one of your videos or something like that. I ran into you or something like that. I'm like, I like your stuff. Let's do something or something like that.
Exactly.
And that's how yeah, that's how it used to be in the olden times where you're just like, I like you. Let's do something.
Exactly. That's what it was. Now it's
It's
like,
just like that was. It was like, oh, you must be some powerful celebrity. No, you just knew how to talk.
I know
You just knew how to
exactly.
do things. And
No,
then
you just talk,
and
talk and communicate, which people don't really do anymore.
no,
Well,
and I feel like an old fart when I say that too. It's like we used to talk,
dude,
we used
you're
to do
younger than
things.
me, and you say that. That's fucking crazy.
I mean, I'm 30 now, and I'm saying that right now.
I know. Imagine how
I mean,
I feel.
uh, probably just as bad, if not worse.
Brian, I feel much older. I'm like, I'm not even in my 40s, and I'm already saying stuff like, man, what the hell's wrong with people? Kids these days don't communicate. They can't do nothing. All they want to just sit at home on their phones.
I want, you know what, that when you start talking about that, all of a sudden a rocking chair just magically appears.
No, like it's crazy when you're like running into people and like they're in the late, then you're at open mic nights and you're in your mid 30. I mean, I tell people I'm like, sometimes I try to tell people I'm like 27 or 29, but I'm 36.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's like I was at open mic night on Halloween and I was talking to this one girl who was a drummer. She was like 20. And all of a sudden I'm doing story time about Bourbon Street back in 2010 with Willie, hanging out with Willie Roaf's cousin. NFL Hall of Fame lineman Willie Roaf's cousin, Willie Roaf, this guy named King. And I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like a dinosaur. I'm talking about like life 13 years ago, hanging out with the player. She doesn't even, a celebrity, the cousin of a celebrity she doesn't even know exists. A celebrity she doesn't know exists. Fuck the relative. She brought it up, like, oh, who's Willie Roaf? And I'm just like, man, I'm a geezer. But she was intrigued by the story, so it was cool, but it was like, God damn. There are people in their 20s, there are people in their early 20s that don't even remember the memes of the mid 2000s. That don't even remember the memes of the Rick
Oh my
Roll and some of the other
gosh, that
memes.
was the best stuff.
I know, like I had those motivational memes. They don't remember that.
One simply does not do this. Or like I actually, funny enough, is I actually ran into a music file I have on my computer, and
Yeah.
it was from 2014,
Yeah.
and it was like, this is the meme song. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm listening to Nyan Cat. I don't think I ever listened to that in a long time.
No.
Or it's like, and it was like the Obamas when they would do like, not bad, that's not bad type of thing. They would have like the shaking of the head type of look, and I'm like,
Right.
oh my
I mean,
gosh, this
most
is stuff
people.
I remember growing up to. This is old now. This is ancient
I mean,
history.
even TV Filthy Frank, his channel's a decade old.
Angry Video Game Nerd has a video that is out there that's 17 years old.
Man.
Oh my
YouTube's 20
gosh.
years old.
YouTube is over 30 years old.
Oh, it's 30?
Is it 30? No, maybe 25. Maybe 25.
Yeah,
But
it's old
still,
enough.
it's
It's still
old.
old enough to date you, Alex.
Oh my gosh, my goodness. I don't have to worry about being jailbait.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And that's the weird thing. It's like, oh, these kids. I'm like, they're not kids. They're 18, 19 years old. Why am I calling them kids? Yeah. I shouldn't be
Man,
calling them.
I did. If you can't enter a bar or a nightclub legally, I ain't talking to you.
Or illegally.
No, but not illegally. No, I ain't talking to an 18-year-old with a fake ID. That ain't happening. Like not unless, like I said, not unless like a story time thing, then maybe. But no, I ain't gonna get in trouble with all that. No, no, I ain't get.
Oh, fine.
But no, I mean the point is, yeah, I mean it's crazy how much times have changed in like such a short amount of time.
Right? You know? I totally agree.
Mm.
It just and it changes so much faster than it used to.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. I have a painting.
Okay.
Of myself now.
Okay, so the first ever YouTube video, me at the zoo, is 18 years old.
Oh my god.
So that just so guess what? It's legal now.
Oh my god.
That's
I mean, I'm so old that I actually have a. I've been on this site for so long. I have a freaking painting. I have 3 paintings of myself.
you could be like you could be like all the great politicians these days and start selling paintings and you'll make thousands of millions of dollars.
Yeah, I have to collaborate with some actual artists to do that. Alex Thomas and Emily Monkeen, if you're listening, we could definitely hustle. We definitely have our new side business. Yeah. Anyway, because I want to shout them out. Alex Thomas, the squirrel herself, she made this beautiful painting for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had to pay her. I had to pay her a few hundred, but it was worth it because this was great. We could do something for you, the Contemptible. Have Mr. Contemptible and all your stuff on there.
Yeah.
If you want to do that.
Nah, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I could have Emily paint something like this for you the way she did for me. Just use like your old patriotic tie, your patriotic suit. See, I like this one because it's myself. It's a Brian Christian Adam because he tries to be a pigeon when it comes to all religions. And Zachary Sonny Edwards, the frog. Because he's addicted to frogs. So I like that. Emily made that painting for me. And then she also made this one for me too of the old. I was showing you this before the show, but I'm going to show it again. And of course, she made this painting for me too. Yeah, I gave her pay her some money for it, but it was all good. But yeah, we could do something for you. Mr. Contemptible. We could have something like
that. One thing I was kind of amusing, I was noticing is that when we have our logos now on Facebook, we both have the red eyes now.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
I was doing that just for I decided to distinguish the photo. I didn't want to just have the photo there and not make it kind of like my own personalized version of it. I mean, I'm giving credit. I don't own everything. It's just me customizing things.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing some Contemptible paintings. Mr. Contemptible in his like red, white, blue suit, or a suit with the red, white, blue flag. Just
speaking of which, let me actually this. My shirt actually has.
Oh my god! I pledge allegiance to the. Oh, yeah.
Thing. And then I have another shirt I just recently got, like this.
Oh wow!
So I'm still rather active politically these days.
Yeah.
I'm in a freaking county committee, so
there's that. How'd you pull that off?
It was vacant.
Hey, a win's a win, right?
I'm part of the Republican county committee in my county. Wow. And I went into the what was the John Goodman quote? I went into it in the mindset of "fuck you." Wow. And I knew things were bad, and then I go in there. I'm like, yeah, they're bad. I didn't need convincing. It's bad.
I know.
But my goal at least is hopefully make it something more palatable. But it's not that's probably going to take quite a long time and a lot of pull teeth. I mean, heck, I even ran for school board last year.
Damn.
Came in 4th place out of 5. Breathing down one of the vice president of the school board down the road, only to have mail-in ballots come in afterwards and made that distance much further. I'm like, oh, of course it's the ballot. Of course it's the mail-in to do that.
That mail-in ballot thing is ridiculous. Is absurd.
Like, Like I have no problem with the idea of like having absentees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is perfectly fine with me. But the moment you start doing just universal,
Yeah.
it gets ridiculous
Right.
because there's almost no sense of accountability.
Right. In theory, someone could be vote if someone lives in a house for like 8 people, like 5 or 8 people, they could basically vote for 8 people.
Right?
Yeah, and it gets to the point where you could basically commit legal voter fraud without even having to do anything.
Yeah.
So
And then you can even ballot harvest,
yeah,
which in certain states is legal. You can do that.
yeah. And then I wonder why the world's a complete mess. But yeah, this is why I kind of left it.
Dude, you and I knew that all those years ago. We're just kind of this is the reunion tour, like we were saying before. Things haven't changed really too much. We were ahead of the curve before the curve even existed.
Exactly.
And now we're like, everyone's like, oh, things are the way they are. I'm like, we've been saying that.
I know, exactly.
Well, welcome. We're glad that you finally came.
Well, to be fair, we did have one last hurrah in 2016 pretending that voting mattered.
True.
And then after that, it was just no. Like, I had no problem. Like, I had no problem interviewing people who were running for office because in those days, I kind of felt like a kingmaker. Because I'm just like, oh fuck, they want my audience. Okay, cool. But like now, it's just, I don't care. I just don't care anymore.
No.
I'd rather just like work on the radio station than deal with this stuff. See, we got all these shirts here. I got to talk to not that it's any different because it's kind of weird. Everyone says politics is cartoon characters, but I also think some of the people I work with at CSHR radio are cartoon characters. And by some people, I mean Scott. But like I sent you a photo, and like we got Robert who looks like Barry Manilow, and we got Scott who looks like Bowser, and I'm like, okay, is this real life?
So what is this? Shananan all of a sudden?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I love Scott. He's awesome. He's actually made the shows like more interesting. But yeah, he's done, and he did a lot of great work with that logo. But yeah, it's just, this is just fun, like old times.
Dude, I'm gonna just be straight. I miss talking to you. It's been.
I did too. It's been too fucking long. Yeah, this time we got StreamYard and everything. We're not going like, hey guys, welcome to the harsh reality. Let's hit the invite button. No, like I actually feel like an adult.
I feel like an adult. I actually know how to work this thing now.
Right.
And it's on a phone. I'm literally on my phone doing this.
Right.
Remember how we would use to fight because it's like, are you on a PC or are you on your phone? And
oh my god, that was the worst. I'm like, get on the PC, get on the phone, damn it! I got the.
And then you had to rotate your phone in order to get the full screen properly.
Oh my god, I remember that stuff. Oh my.
Now I can actually change the. Actually, I think I could do that. Oh, I didn't realize I could do that. Now it's actually a full screen.
I know.
I can actually see your shirt now. It was a little small before. Now I can actually see it. Wow.
There it is.
Let me see what else I can do here.
Anything really, if you paid for it.
Well, I actually got the basic plan right now.
You can do some things with it. Yeah.
So I have so it's not the free plan. It's the first paid plan. So I can actually go to for example, one of the places I'm streaming this is on Rumble, and I can't do anything on Rumble unless I have the stream key. But you can't do that unless Yeah. So like StreamYard has a few places natively, but Rumble is not one of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, Rumble's, I don't know. I know Rumble's weird. I've never really gotten into it, but someone's gonna have to explain how that works to me. But anyhow, so if you got the basic plan, you should be able to put your own logo at the corner.
I actually don't have a logo.
Really, Mister? Well, not even a photo of yourself in that suit that you used to wear.
No.
In photos.
Nope.
Gotta get that. Gotta get that, bro.
I don't know. I think you're more the suit guy than I've ever been.
No, that is true. I mean, like I said, we have paintings that
my
prove that.
signature thing for the longest time was me wearing a white shirt.
Right. No, but I'm saying in one of your photos, I remember you posing with like this, like a blue suit with like a red, white, and blue tie and a pin. Like America, yeah. It's like during the QAnon days.
Yeah. Can't even make that joke anymore. No one makes that. No one understands that joke anymore.
No one.
I'm like, I'm getting old. I make jokes and no one understands them anymore.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's been so long. I actually tried stand-up comedy a few times.
I've always wanted to do improv, quite frankly. I always thought it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it's like that. Improv is its own skill. It really is.
Yeah.
Because you're just randomly coming into a character you don't even realize. Like even like that's me. That's mimes.
That's a great pantomime right there, Harsh. Yeah. Great pantomime.
But yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I remember doing sometimes we'll get into character. Sometimes Scott and I will just do our own random improv when you impersonate people we don't like. Have you ever seen the show? So basically they give the testicular tube a hand job and they stuck a finger. Just like Scott will play these ridiculous clips like, no, I'm not dude. I'm sitting in Nashville. No one's around me. I'm trying to say, you right the fuck now. And then we keep keep impersonating them. You should definitely be on the radio show. Let me know when you want to be on. That'd be fun.
Sure. I'm more happy to be on.
Yes, we're usually on Tuesdays and Fridays. I mean, not, yeah, it'd be fun. But yeah, I mean, I remember doing comedy, doing a comedy setting. My God, you have to. When you do it, you have to be very creative.
You just have to have a certain set of skills. Not every person can do it.
No,
with my luck, I probably crash and burn because I make an off-color joke and no one would understand the context.
No, that's a problem. Like if you piss people off with your comedy, you're fine. But if no one understands, you're like,
and nowadays that's even worse because everything offends somebody now.
Right. But at least in comedy, you're like,
the sky is green. No, it's not green. It's purple. How is it purple?
I know. It's the conversations I used to have 5 years ago with people who still trusted the MSM, but like supported their favorite progressive candidates. It's like, oh, you idiots.
Oh, by the way, you heard about one of our favorite progressive candidates coming back?
Uh-oh.
Jill Stein's running for president again.
Oh, my God.
It's 2016 all over again.
Why is she running for president again?
Because Cordell West went independent.
He probably got tired of the Green Party, didn't he? Of course.
If I remember correctly, the Green Party left him.
Yeah,
they canceled his candidacy, and so he's like, "No, I'm going to run as an independent." And now we're going to have Jill Stein. So it's like, okay, so you have Jill, you have Cornell, you have RFK, you have Trump, you have Biden. This thing is going to be freaking loaded in 2020.
I mean, you could have it where Trump will probably win with like 20% of the vote. There's no way Trump loses, but more importantly, if there's that many people running as independents, that vote's going to be split up in like 20 different ways too.
And then you have to consider that all of them have to try to get ballot access in every state.
Sure. Oh, Cornell West.
I mean, just getting in one state is a virtual impossibility.
It is. But considering how much the Green Party collapsed in the last like 5 years,
I don't even think that was like an implosion of like epic proportions.
When Howie ran, that was like the death of the Green Party. It's like, wow, you guys really went all in for this loser.
Wait, you're talking about Howie? You said Howie Hawkins?
Howie Hawkins.
Yeah, I remember I saw that, and then you had like Spike as vice president.
Yeah, like Angela Walker or something was like his.
I don't know. It was. It's
the whole thing was so stupid. Because they went from having 47 state ballot access in 47 states to 24 in like 4 years.
Half what influence they had.
I mean, that's how bad that is.
It's horrible.
That's like you should just shut it down. Just shut it down. Like if the Green Party
all right,
wasn't
guys,
controlled
we've had good.
opposition, exactly. Like if the Green Party wasn't controlled
Okay.
opposition, they
There you
probably
go.
just
Here's your cardboard box. There you go. Kindly
exactly,
leave the premises.
exactly. I mean, if the Green Party was a controlled opposition, it would have let Jesse run in 2020 and just given Cornel West the keys to the party in 2024 and see where they're at. But since they're controlled opposition, they do dirty work for Dems and Republicans, kind of like the Libertarians. It's the same. It's the same nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same
Totally.
stupid crap. It's like the Libertarians have to be so crazy that people are allowed to go back to the Dems and Republicans. And then the Greens have to be so incompetent and retarded. And it goes back to the Dems and Republicans. You're like, okay, this is all staged. It's dumb. The whole thing
It's
is
the Muppet Show. We're at the Muppet Show.
right. It is. And that's the thing. It's like, but I think the first time I did comedy stand was actually at a studio and I speaking of comedy and jokes. The first time I did comedy stand was a studio in Iowa, and it was actually kind of funny. I should send you a clip of it. It wasn't too bad. There was a decent amount of data. Hey man, this guy's amazing. And I think it said something along the lines of, and then I think it said something about like someone I knew of really well. It's like, hey, Harsh, you're from Chicago. This is one of the jokes I cracked. How come you don't order pizza? Oh, I forgot. There's not enough curry on it. And I said, that joke sounded so white, I could smell the mayonnaise coming from her vagina.
Whoa, dude. Whoa.
That was the first time I did it. And then the second time I was at O'Neill's. I was at O'Neill's on open mic night. I cracked the same joke. And then I was talking about, God, you know what? The world's coming to an end, and I'm so happy to be here for it. Let's all have some fun. Make some noise for all the talented people here. I mean, it actually didn't go that badly, but
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's so weird. People get offended by everything, but the words that are supposed to be offensive, no one even cares about them anymore.
Right?
Right. Like before the old days, if you called like if you called someone a dick or an asshole, and they was like, "What the fuck, man? What's wrong with you?" Now it's like, "Yeah, I'm an asshole. What you gonna do, bitch? Yeah, I'm a dick. What you gonna do?" and women have it the same way now. But in the old days, if you called a woman a bitch or a cunt, it's like, "Oh my gosh, how dare you!" Now it's like you call someone a bitch, you're like, "Yeah, I'm a bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch. What you gonna do about it?" I'm like,
hit me upside. Why'd you talk about that?
You can't get in my pants. That's why you call me a cunt. You a hater. It's like, oh, that's where we're at now.
I don't even want to know what's in there. Okay.
Okay, this is where we're at now. All right, well, everything's inverted in this country again, and there's really nothing to say. It's like,
that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Right. Like you can insult more people by calling them basic than cussing at them. That's where we're at now. You could literally call people the worst fucking words in the world and they won't care. You call someone basic or a Karen or a Chad and they lose their mind. That's how insane the world's become. Yeah.
What was that?
You okay, Alex?
There we go. I was thinking of a name, and I had to figure out what the name was.
Right.
You were like that joke is so white, and I'm like, oh, and it was like you melt the mayonnaise off it. I'm like, no, there's a better punchline there. I'm trying to figure out what that better punchline is. It's like the joke is so white that Trevor Moore was angry at you. I was like, what was his name? I was going to say Trevor Noah. No, that's not the right name.
No, that's
like Trevor Moore.
Trevor Moore. That's
you just know it too. And I was like, oh. And then when I went back to the show, The Whitest Kids You Know, and I'm like, did you know it's illegal to say I want to kill the president? And he did a whole skit about that. He's like, no, it's an example. I'm just giving an example. And it was just like this whole skit. But it's so old now. But it was on HBO.
Years ago, yeah.
Back when HBO actually did some great stuff. Now it's kind of cable television. Let's be honest, it's a dead art at this point.
It is.
Everything's streaming. Back to our good friend Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. even Paramount Plus, a company owned by CBS, is trying to like get involved with the streaming stuff. You know, and Peacock, a company owned by NBC. It's like, guys, how about just have better MSM shows on your MSM channels, and then don't worry about it.
No one, and they think about it. I mean, they're making more money now than they were before because now it's no longer a middleman. They don't have you don't have the cable companies or the satellite company anymore. We're just paying directly Paramount, or we're going right to NBC.
Right.
So,
I mean, the whole thing is just
true, very
the
true.
whole thing is just crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's like even insulting people. You can insult people more by calling them a Becky, a Karen, and a Chad than you can by cussing at them and calling them basic. If you call someone basic, they go, "Hey, you brother, you're not basic." It's like, wow, okay then.
Well, that person was sus.
Yeah, way to not fit the stereotype there.
About that. No. You there's something about you that's just completely off. I don't know what it was.
God.
And then all of a sudden, Foghorn Leghorn comes to my head and it's like, "Nah, Scott, well, the elevator don't go all the way to the penthouse."
God, it's all right. Yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna wrap things up for this evening. How's that sound?
Absolutely. Let's.
So
I was about to say we're at the 1 hour 25-minute mark almost.
And we've been talking since like a little before 9. So
gotta have the same.
We definitely got to do this. We got to do some more of this because
we have to.
It's refreshing. I haven't talked to you in all this time, so get back to the swing of things again.
Absolutely.
Back to purer time. Back to simpler times.
Back to simpler, like less depressing times. I can't believe
they were always depressing. We were just drunk the entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
We were just so burnt out in the brain that we didn't even. We were so numb. It's like, oh, that's funny.
I mean, they should have called our show Alcoholics Anonymous.
No, we couldn't do that. That would be too on the point, on the nose.
No, that's the show they used to call that I used to do with Furious George and myself back in the day, Alcoholics Anonymous. It'd be Sunday night, and it would just be wasted. Everybody was
I remember that.
Oh my god.
I remember that. My goodness
crazy part.
What was I doing? I was just myself doing contemptible thought things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Alrighty, sir. Let me tie this all up in a nice neat bow, and we will part ways from now, right?
Absolutely. And for those watching on my page, it's been another edition of The Harsh Reality. We thank Alex for hosting this whole thing. And remember, life is harsh, but also live it.
Harsh.
And back in the day, it used to be, and the golden rule is, in fact, reminding you that the golden rule is, in fact, a two-way street. But then Helena Summer came on the show and changed that. It's like, no. You don't want the golden rule of a two-way street. Because what some people want to do to punish themselves, everyone doesn't want to do that because people are lunatics. And I'm like, yeah, that is true.
That is true.
Like, yeah, but sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. And for those on Crayola Sec, sometimes you have to color outside the lines. So, all right, Contemptible, sign us out.
All right, guys. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
Harsh and I have been talking we've been talking on and on for the last few months. And we went into all these projects and we're like, let's do a thing. He's like, let's actually do something. I'm like, we'll actually do something. Now we've done something, and we'll make this something more of a thing later on.
It has to be.
We just can't have this just be a one night stand.
No,
and I know that's such a controversial phrase, but
this will be.
This is not just one.
At the very least, this is going to be a situationship. At the very least.
What is that? What is this stuff now?
Situation.
It was just one of those times where it's like, I like you. Now it's just like, you're a good lay. It's like, what the fuck?
I mean, to be fair, at least that's being honest, you know. Like if I'm just all I'm like is if I'm in a situation,
right now. You're just not there. Okay.
well, all I'm saying is if I'm in a situationship, let's just keep it that way. Like, don't sit there and tell me 1 minute we're in a situationship, and the next minute invite me to your and drag me to your family's house for Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's all I'm asking. Like,
That's fair. Hey, that's fair. That's fair.
No.
That's fair.
Or if you are gonna do that, then you know what? Then don't call it a situationship.
Nope.
I don't have to do.
We've established the terms at this point.
Exactly.
There we go. We've established that.
Oh man, this is great though.
Oh, it is. Alrighty, sir. It's been good. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back at some other time to do this again. Sarge?
Probably on Monday or Tuesday for sure.
Probably. I'm usually available Sunday nights and Tuesday night generally.
Yeah, we could shoot for Sunday night if it's I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, I'm usually not having to wake up early in the morning, so that works out. So, alrighty, sir.
Alrighty.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta.